We are back again for another card in our Wreath for All Season card class to go, featuring the Arrange A Wreath Stamp and Die Bundle. So in the card class to go kit, if you purchase that, these are the items that you would get inside the kit. It's inside of your envelope. 2 pre-die cut pieces, scallop stitched rectangles. Now, these pieces came from the awesome die set called Stitched So Sweetly, item 151690. It's a really fun set of dies. You get these nesting scallop rectangles, and I like how they go down to a fairly small size, so they create nice size tags as well as larger pieces. And then you get these fun shapes for labels that are also really, really nice. And I've used this set of dies throughout our card class to go with this Arrange A Wreath project. So these 2 pieces are from that die set. These are included in the kit, as well as there's a loose piece here. This will be a floating bottom card. So basically this began as a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and then I just cut off this smaller portion here that will be the floating bottom. It is connected with this really cute, sweet little scalloped rectangle. Okay, so all of these pieces are included in your kit, as well as the Whisper White interior panel that will go inside the card like that. Okay, and then there's the envelope. This is the piece of Flowers for Every Season, or for All Season, designer series paper. It's this with a really pretty, I believe this is Calypso Coral and Magenta Madness. Really pretty colors on that. So this is the DSP that we will use, and we're basically putting the DSP here on the top and the bottom to give it a real pop of color there on our card. Yes, so I want to make sure I say this correctly. So this was a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of paper to begin with. And then instead of, and it was scored as we would normally do for a, top folding card like this. It's scored at 5 1/2. And then we trimmed off 1.5 inches for the bottom. And then we left 1.5 inches from the fold onto that front. Okay. All right. And this is just your standard interior 4 by 5 1/4 inch interior. Okay. So I'm going to set the envelope aside, and let's start to work. Let's do some stamping first. So I'm going to stamp the wreath. Instead of die cutting it, this time we'll stamp the wreath onto this, this piece of die cut here. I'm going to use my stamp positioner. I'm going to place my stitched scallop rectangle up against the edge here, and I'm going to get out this stamp image, the wreath. All right. So here's the wreath. And I would recommend, if you're using a stamp positioner or not, putting a piece of scrap paper behind your image you're going to stamp on to stamp off, so to speak. The image of the stamp is going to kind of hang off of the rectangle. So I'm going to stamp my wreath about like, maybe like that, so that these leaves kind of go over to this stitched edge here, my magnet, and then it gives the appearance of kind of hanging off, that the wreath is hanging off. Okay, like that. I'm going to shut the door. All I need to do is make sure that it is up against my edge here. If you're stamping just with a block, no worries, okay? I'm going to pick up my stamp, butt that back up against there. And Just Jade is the color I'm going to use for my wreath. Let's see. I can focus the ink over here. All right. And close the door. We'll see how this goes. Looks pretty good. I'll leave a stick on there. If you wanted to, if you were in a stamp positioner, you can do it again. But actually, I'm okay. It's a little light here, but I think with some of the other stuff we're going to put on, we're going to decorate our wreath with, I am okay with that. I'm okay with that. So here is our stamped panel. Okay, that's going to be the connector for our floating card. So let's go ahead and make that connection, and then we'll do all of our embellishing. Okay. Actually, I might as well go ahead and this will be the sentiment. So I'm going to go ahead. So in order to hold this smaller stitched and scalloped rectangle onto my stamp positioner, but I want to lift it up a little bit. I don't want it to be tucked down into the corner. So non-permanent adhesive. So I just have this little bit of stuff here. It will hold it. I'm going to, let's see, hold it at about that mark. And that way it holds it in place while I fidget with the sentiment a little bit. And I just didn't want it the stamp to bump into here because it's, it's kind of close, but there we go. Close the door. Gently pick that up. There we go. I think I will use Misty Moonlight this time. I'm going to use Misty Moonlight. That coordinates with the card base. And we'll ink that up. Ink the sentiment up with Misty Moonlight. And there we go. A little bit of ink on my fingers. There we go. Whoop. There we are. All right, clean off my stamp and get that all out of the way. Okay, so here is our tag. And if you want, you can just rub your finger on there to get the temporary adhesive off. But that's kind of a cool trick to use in a stamp positioner. Just kind of holds it in place for a little bit. All right, let's get back to putting basically the base of our card together. I'm going to start, here's our bottom, to keep that over there. Here's our bridge, so to speak. I'm going to go ahead and adhere the interior panel inside the card. Place it evenly inside, equal border, equal edges. There we go. And so now this will be we're looking at the outside of the card here. Okay, so we have the bottom, and here's the top of our floating card. And we want to put some of that really pretty designer series paper onto our flaps here. So these measures are 1 1/4 by 4 inches, and I'm just going to adhere them to the top and the bottom flap. Okay. Start with this side. There we go, and here's this will be our bottom. Just line it up. All right, there we go. And there's our floating bottom. Now we need to connect our floating bottom with our stamped stitched rectangle. So basically I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put, I can use a stamp and seal. I'm going to put adhesive on the top and the bottom only. I don't want to get it in the center because I don't want this to stick to the inside of my card. So I'm just going to put it on the right here and right here. Okay. I'm adding just a little extra considering that. Now I hold it here and tap it a little just to make sure it's at the bottom. I'm going to hold my fingers on it and then eyeball center. Okay. And then you just have to commit. Top, bottom, lift it up. Check your back. Make sure you didn't get any adhesive here. You might have a little. So I'm going to put my mat back down. And I just use my finger and rub any adhesive off. It pills and you can just kind of brush it off. Yes, into the floor, whatever. Maybe you're a little more careful than me, but there you go. I want to make sure there's none on the back so that it doesn't stick to the interior. Okay, so just check and make sure. There we go. So we have the beginning of our card front there. And what I am decorating with, I stamped onto a piece of, white cardstock, some scraps if you have them. I stamped 3 of these little sort of, I don't know, little centers, little berry kind of bundles there. I used Night of Navy there. I made 3 Just Jade leaves. I made 1, 2, 3 Magenta Madness and 3 Poppy Parade flowers. And these are all part of our stamp set. They're all images from here. So you've got, here's the flowers, here's the leaves, and then here's that little little center, or just the little berry bundles, I'm calling them. So that's where you find all of them on the stamp set here. And then, of course, they all those pieces have coordinating dies. So this little piece is for the berry bundles. This piece is for the leaves. And you get a lot of dies with this set, let me tell you. And then I had to, and then here's part 2. Here is the flower die that I cut all those out with. All right. Okay, so let's put these back so we don't lose them. I have lots more wreath cards to make. All right, so now let's decorate our wreath with these pieces. All right, and I also have a bumblebee gingham ribbon right here. So I think I'm going to just push these aside a little bit. And here is our sentiment. And so what I basically want to do is eventually, right, in the end, the sentiment is going to go off to the side like that. So it kind of visually is finishing that card front. But I want to attach this bow to the back of my sentiment like that. So it's kind of, vertical, but still a bow. So I am going to use a couple of glue dots here on my bow, and then I'm going to just apply that to the back of my sentiment, okay? So I'm going to get, my Take-A-Pick tool. That's always handy. And here are my glue dots. Like I said, I think I'll take 2 and just adhere them. Let's see. Adhere them here to the back, or to this bow near the knot. All right, just gonna adhere that there. And then, oops, get on there without sticking to my finger. And then I'm going to, here is the sentiment. Just gonna apply that sort of right there. Press, okay? So that gives you a bow on one side, bow on the other. And it is going, we'll adjust the tails at the end here. And then we'll pop this edge up with dimensionals. Okay, so I'm going to lay it out and let's take a look at how we're going to place our flowers and our leaves and all that kind of fun stuff. I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to adhere this and get this settled, and then we'll build around it. So I'm going to put a couple dimensionals right here on the back. And that'll basically put everything at about the same height. Okay. Move these. Grab our sentiment. And again, I'm just going to kind of, we'll take care of the tails a little later, but so you can kind of see where about the center will be. So I am going to pop it up right there. All right, now let's work on our arranging of our flowers. I think we're going to let's get these down. I think I'm going to pop this one up so that it goes with the sentiment. Pop that up with a dimensional. Okay. Best wishes there. All right. And let's see. I want to get my leaf in here. And then the last poppy parade we'll put there. Ooh, I love it. It is so pretty. So cheerful and colorful. All right. Yeah, I think right there. All right. So there you go. Now I think our finishing touch will be some enamel dots. And I think I'll stick with the Misty Moonlight. That ties the back in here. The base. So grab some of these and, oh, let's see. Kind of like to do 3s. 3s or 5s, odd number. There we go. Very pretty. All right, so let's move all this stuff out of the way. And here is another spring or summertime card. Best wishes.